Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Guys, I need your help. I want to know what I need to do next season. I have finally gotten all of the information for the new Major League Fishing Invitational Series, which used to be the Pro Circuit, which is what I used to fish or fished last year, and I fished pretty much my entire career. The Bassmaster Open schedule came out as well, and it's not necessarily what I was hoping for. They did make some adjustments to it, which I do like, and we'll go over some of those. So I kind of want to walk through some of the numbers. I want to get your opinion as to what I should do, because I'm pretty stressed. I honestly have I've had some issues with this as a whole. The state of tournament fishing has gotten worse every year if you're not in the top two levels. I mean, I was technically in one of the top two levels, and then BPT was formed. They then bought FLW, moved the old FLW tour down into a second level, and now we are very much a AAA circuit comparable to the Bassmaster Opens. We are very much just for the purpose of creating a qualifying system. So the payouts are nowhere near as good. The exposure is nowhere near as good. It's a AAA circuit. So there's a lot of questions that I have regarding it. And I'll go over some of the different stats with you, some of the different comparison stats between Major League Fishing Invitationals, the Bass Opens, as well as the NPFL. You know, I did this last year, and I feel like it was a month ago when I sat down and shot this video to get your opinion on things. You know, for me, the game is changing, and it's not for the better. You know, I feel very fortunate to have you guys out there watching my videos. My YouTube channel has done very well in the past year, and it's given me a lot of opportunities to the point where I could potentially retire from tournament fishing. I've done it for the last 12 years. I feel like I've had a very successful career. I've qualified for a whole pile of Forest Wood Cups and championship events. I've won over $500,000. It's been a good fishing career. There are things that I still would like to do. I have not yet sealed the deal on a major victory. I've got second place finishes, other top tens. I have not won an event yet. I want to do that. I want to fish the Bassmasters Classic. I can't do that unless I fish bass. I don't really care where the win comes from. I just want a top level win. Other than that, those are kind of the two main goals. You know, I obviously love to be Angler of the Year and, you know, win some of the other different titles that you can win in professional fishing. But the reality is for me, I feel like I need a victory, and I want to experience a Bassmasters Classic. I want to be able to determine for myself, is it that much cooler than what the FLW Tour Forest Wood Cup was back in the heyday? Because that was a pretty cool event too. So there are things that I would like to do. And right now, the opportunities that are out there are not, they're not supportive of somebody who wants to make a full-time career out of professional tournament fishing. That's not to say you can't do it. There's a lot of guys that are doing it. But with the state of the industry right now, we've got tournament dollars are becoming harder to get for just a tournament fisherman, and tournament organizations are suffering as well by not getting as many sponsor dollars, and therefore they're turning to the anglers to fulfill their needs to run the tournament. So the anglers are getting stretched in multiple different directions. So for those of you who want to pursue a career in tournament fishing, I would recommend making sure that you've got a bunch of different potential ways to market yourself, whether that's TikTok or YouTube or social media. You need to have some brand value, because the brand value for a tournament angler, strictly just a tournament angler right now, is falling every year, and it's making it tougher to be a full-time tournament fisherman. So let's go over some of these stats just to give you guys some comparison. And I don't want to come across as I'm complaining. I actually feel extremely fortunate to be in the position that I'm in now versus where I could have been had this happened 5 years ago. You know, like I said, the YouTube has given me a lot of other potential avenues that I can go. You know, I can strictly not fish tournaments, and I can grow my YouTube channel. I've been working a bunch with Fish the Moment, their YouTube channel. There's other things that I've kind of got in the works that I want to grow as well. So I still very much would be within the fishing industry. I just wouldn't be fishing tournaments. I'd be swapping the time devoted to tournament fishing to growing my other fishing related businesses. So that's exciting to me because, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, those weren't opportunities, and I would really be sweating right now because I was trying to make a career as strictly a tournament fisherman. So yeah, so I don't want to come across as I'm complaining. This is the reality of the sport right now. If you're not either in the Elite Series or the BPT Tour, you're in a tough place. So let's go over this. I've got here a sheet that I printed off. This is what they presented to us in the Major League Fishing Invitational meeting. I took this off of my buddy Kyle Cordiana's fishing page. If you don't watch his YouTube channel, check out his YouTube channel, Kyle Cordiana Fishing. He did a video on this as well, but he puts out a ton of really good tournament recap footage, so check that out. But I took this right from his page, and I'll show it to you guys here on the screen. So I've got three different circuits to choose from: the Invitationals, which is the old pro circuit, the Bass Opens, and then the NPFL, the National Professional Fishing League. A couple of the different things on here that really matter to me. The first is the entry fee per event. You can see that the MLF Invitationals and the NPFL are $5,000 and $6,000 respectively. Both of those are very high dollar amounts anytime you're talking about a tournament circuit that pays back such a low percentage that you're going to have a very difficult time winning back your money. And what I mean by that is, in both of these cases, with the all three circuits pay back roughly the entry fee for the last place check, which is going to be right around a third of the field. So in the Invitationals, the top 50 will get an $8,000 check. Yes, that's $3,000 more than your entry fee, but keep in mind travel expenses, especially for somebody like myself who has long travel expenses or long drives. I'm looking at roughly $2,000 per event for lodging as well as gas, with a few other minimal expenses like your fishing licenses that you need to buy. I'm not even including in tackle and crazy things like that. But so you're looking at about $7,000 in expenses to fish that tournament, and therefore you're only winning back $8,000 for the last 50th place check. So 30th to 31st to 50th is $8,000. So you have to have a great tournament to generate any income on that. The same can be said for the Bass Opens and the MPFL. You need to be roughly at the top third of the field to get a check, and the majority of those checks are going to be the small size check. So you're going to be getting back roughly what it costs you to fish the event. So you're fishing it to break even. So the biggest issue I have with the Invitationals and the Bass Opens are because they're qualifying series, there's no championship. So you're fishing these just to make it to either the BPT Tour or the Bassmaster Elite Series. And they know that they've got you in a position where you're going to do whatever's necessary to try to get to those top two levels if that's your goal. So therefore, for somebody to go out and have a good year and potentially just break even, they're okay with that, trying to get to the next level. And that's the whole goal of everyone who's fishing these, is to get to the next level, because that's where you can get those higher payouts. The reality is, though, you're going to spend a lot more money fishing the 6 events for the Invitationals versus the 9 events for the Opens. It's going to cost you probably $10,000 to $15,000 more in just from a entry fee and travel standpoint. So you can almost get 2 years worth of Opens out of fishing 1 year of Invitationals if you cash no checks. The NPFL does have a championship. The top 25, I believe, make it to a championship where first place is $100,000. That would be a nice tournament to fish, where you've got a shot at $100,000 against 24 other guys. That would be very ideal. I can't sit here and say, though, that the payouts of their league entice me, and I don't think I can even get into it. I think they're full at this point. But to be honest with you, it's not something that truly it does not intrigue me enough to go and fish the events, just because I think if you fish the MPFL, you can't move up any higher, and you're not doing yourself any service by fishing that league without trying to get to a higher level. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't guys who have done very well fishing them and they've made a lot of money. You can do it for sure. I just personally, from my goals, I would rather fish the Elite Series or BPT Tour than not being able to go any higher than NPFL. So when I break it down any further, the invitationals and the opens are very similar. If you win a single event, you move forward to the Red Crest for MLF or the Bassmasters Classic. So you have that opportunity without actually qualifying to get to the next level. You do need to fish all 3 tournaments of one division in the Bass Opens, or you can cherry pick the MLF Invitational. So if you win one, you could potentially get in. So having put it all out there, where from an expense standpoint, none of these options make sense, to be honest with you. There's going to be a very, very small percentage of guys that can make a living fishing any 3 of these circuits just based off of tournament winnings alone. It's going to be a very small percentage. So you got to have really good sponsor support. Depending on the sponsor support you have, you can end up making this work. If you've got a second job where you're generating good income, you can make this work as well. So my question to you guys is, where do you think I should be? I'm saying right now the NPFL is something that I don't know that I can get into, and it's not a choice for me. The invitationals, I mean, they're okay, and the opens are okay. But for me, I guess it depends on where would you rather be. I mean, as an angler, why put down the money to fish MLF if you want to get to the elites or fish the classic? And if you're fishing the opens and you want more high dollar tournaments, I guess maybe you fish the MLF. But they've made it to the point where they're so comparable that I think the end goal is kind of the only result that you should be trying to chase. And at this point, I've only known this information for about a week now, so I haven't fully figured out what I'm going to do. But I want to know from you guys, what do you think about all of this in the first place? Do you think I'm crazy for even considering fishing any of these? Should I just stick with YouTube and try to make a bunch more YouTube content and grow my YouTube family, which sounds very good to me? Should I fish the MLF Invitationals, try to make it to BPT, or should I fish the Bass Opens and try to make it to the Elites? And is all of this, is it worth pursuing? So let me know what you guys have to say. I'd love to hear it. I'm sure I'll have a decision here for you probably in another month, because I know signups are coming soon. So I'll either have to decide to put some money down, or I'll have to decide to not put any money down and maybe take a step away from fishing for a year or two. And maybe because that sounds like a pretty good option to me. You let the tournament world figure itself out for the next couple of years, and then you come back when all of this BS is done and there's actually some good opportunities out there for the anglers. Because right now, it's not that good. So guys, I appreciate you watching. I am looking forward to hearing your comments. I'll be very curious to hear what you have to say. And yeah, thanks again, guys. It's not a good state of the tournament world. Thanks for watching.